What did that kid in your school do that will never leave your mind? In my first year of university there was a kid who wore a dinosaur head covering hat that had a cape attached to it and would walk around campus just staring at people. My friend asked him one day what his name was and he replied with King Retta. Weird kid, haven't seen him since. Edit. Also, one day during Fresh Week there was a movie being played on my university's equivalent of the quad. He showed up and were pulled squad by people while just looking at them. There was also a kid who would ride a unicycle around campus. A kid I knew took a poo in his hands and painted the walls in the boys' bathroom. Did not return next day. Next I heard him. He messaged me on FB, hey man, what up you pooping the walls man, that's what's up. Oh man. Did every school have a poo-poo bandit? Thought it was just ours. But the identity of ours was unknown for the longest time. At my school we called him Picasso lol. Threw a desk at a teacher and it ended up hitting another student. Attacked a dude with a sword and cut the guy's hand in half through the palm. Edit. So the motherfucker though he was a pirate and that the man didn't get his hand cut completely in half like I remembered. But can we still appreciate the fact that he did it because it was his job to pillage and plunder? When the cops found him next to the sword he was like, not my sword, and the cops were like, so whose sword is it, and he was like, shit. What seemed to be his mother used to come in and spoon feed him in the middle of the yard while all the other kids played, but many watched. Some were assholes and said stuff. He was a completely able-bodied kid of about 9-10 years of age. You could see it in his eyes that it was killing him, and that the whole thing was about her. Christ, I haven't thought about that in years. Looking back as adult, I feel disgusted. A girl I went to high school with who seemed sweet, quiet and friendly. She was perfectly normal. She turned out to be a huge mess. One day, a few years later, she beat her 5-year-old stepdaughter to death for not cleaning her room. What the fuck? Girl would put a piece of bread in her mouth and proceed to roll the wet soggy bread mass into a bowl. She would then take the bowl out and look at it, and then put it back in her mouth, over and over again. First day of first grade a kid shoved a pencil through his own hand, and then just calmly told the teacher and got escorted out of the room. He never came back. This kid used to drink cups of ranch dressing at lunch, and nothing else. He would have 15-20 of those little ketchup cups loaded on his tray and he'd start slurping it down. Pretty sure he had some kind of mental disability, so I don't want to rag on him too hard, but just watching him do that every day turned me off of ranch for a few years. This guy would just combine all of his food at lunch, including the drink, into a weird soup and eat it like that, no matter what we were eating. In my high school's Mac lab, the admin computer had a feature that let all the other iMacs be taken control of at the same time to mirror whatever the admin computer displayed. This was often used to show instructions more easily for in-class computer assignments. The teacher forgot to lock the admin computer during a washroom break, so one kid seized the opportunity to access the mode I mentioned just now, and rickroll the whole lab, using one of those sites that makes the browser jump all over the screen, starting it right before the teacher came back. The teacher wasn't very savvy with computers, so she got very agitated and had to call the guy for help. In elementary school I used to be very afraid of using the school washroom for shitting, and one time I shit my shorts in class because I couldn't hold it in any longer. Since I was wearing shorts the shit ran down my legs and onto the floor. Man, so this kid was a strange one. Maybe something was up with him, but I don't know. He really liked Slipknot, anyway. One day he swore he was a Wiccan. We used to have Smash Bro tournaments and invite kids over to play at a friend's, and he showed up saying he was able to change his eye color. He closed his eyes to concentrate and he opened them saying they changed. They didn't. He said they became a lighter shade. He tried to show me how to create fireballs, and had this book of different wolf pictures and tried to determine what my wolf form was. He wasn't a bad kid, just weird, so we dealt with it until the incident. He was really into the Wiccan stuff, so 2 of my friends decided to fuck with him. I guess you can say they were metalheads and they had that look. Anyway, they told me they went up to him one day and revealed themselves as demons. One of them, let's call him Vince, said he reached out to him from down the hallway and said, "Your soul is mine," and made gestures like he pulled his soul out of his body and buried into in the floor. So the kid freaks the fuck out and begs for his soul back, and my friends leave thinking the dumb prank was over. Later that day, I get a knock on my door and it's the kid. He has a pair of those sharp metal scissors in his hands and he looks frantic. He is aggressive and tells me that he needs to find Vince. He needs to kill Vince and get his soul back. I'm pretty shocked, so I tell him that I don't know where Vince is, and the kid is reluctant to believe me because he has seen me with them. He asked me if I knew they were demons and I tell them I didn't know. Anyway, I pretty much shut the door on him and he leaves hysterical. Supposedly, he was running around trying to find Vince to murder him and retrieve his soul, but this kid was a pretty big kid, so someone saw him running around in the streets with scissors. We don't know what happened to him. Edit. Obviously, as an adult looking back, it was a fucked up situation for the kid. No one expected such an episode, and back then. I do hope he is doing alright now. However, it was still weird as hell. He walked around in black extra wide Jacko bondage pants with a ripped up fishnet shirt and a black wife beater, cat ears, and a hot pink cat collar that his girlfriend attached a leash to and led him around within the hallway. He also had black emo hair and wore lots of eyeliner. That dude was living his life with his pet play submissive fantasy. Of course everyone teased the shit out of him for it. But he gave zero fucks. You do you, emo cat boy. We were in 4th grade. This girl who was really quiet would eat from trash and go from table to table looking for food left. She was kind of fat. I was in the same bus route as her. She lived in a beautiful historic house and they weren't poor. We met again in high school. I just said hi to her and wished her a good school year. Later the principal called me to her office because this girl has said I was bullying her. I was so shocked. I had never been mean and was pretty naive, so my principal believed me. After this, that girl would look at me as if I was prey to be cautious about. A kid in grade 10 shat himself while doing a pull-up. My freshman year of high school, this dude showed up in a cape every single day. He then convinced a bunch of other freshmen to lay in different positions in the courtyard during lunch one day, and their bodies ended up making a giant swastika. Edit. Since this seems to have happened at a couple of schools, my high school is 20 minutes north of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. I saw this fight right after school where this guy knocked the dude clean out, then took a giant shit on his chest. I'll never forget that. There was this kid who liked to eat paper. So one day in the new term, he asked the new Asian boy for some paper. The Asian boy, in a full Asian accent, ripped out 3 pages from his notebook and said, "Here is breakfast, lunch and dinner." My school gave out pencils with $100 bill designs on it because hard work pays. A friend of mine tore the design off, rolled it up, approached a girl he sorta knew, and asked her for a lap dance. She told the teacher and he was suspended for a week. We were in 6th grade. Clearly not as traumatizing as everyone else's, but I will always remember the scab-eater. This girl would get various cuts and scrapes on the playground pretty much every day and be carted off to get cleaned up and bandaged. When the scrapes hardened into scabs, she would always sit in the back corner of the playground picking the scabs off her skin and eating them. Usually these were on her elbows or knees. If the cut would start bleeding again, she would patiently wait for another scab to form before she went back at it. I've never seen someone so utterly pleased with themselves as the girl casually dining upon scabs while all the other kids were playing on the playground. My friend, Mexican, gave another friend some spicy pepper powder to try in like 3rd grade. My white friend had to get in an ambulance because he couldn't breathe and my Mexican friend got suspended with less than a week of school left. Still friends with both of them and we all find it hilarious now. High school drawing class, 2 kids. Girl A had known her for a while, fairly normal kid, and girl B had never spoken to her before. I was having a chat with girl A during class when girl B approaches. Girl A, are you busy? Yeah, I'm talking. Oh, but can you just, no. Please, I said no. Come back when I'm not talking. Girl A and I go back to our conversation. The same convo between girl A and girl B happens once more. Finally, girl A and I stop talking. Are you free now? Girl A sighs the sigh of a lost cause. Her eyes look dead. She tilts her head. Go ahead, girl B. Girl B viciously bites her neck. In a full classroom, teacher present. No one moves. Girl A doesn't make a sound but girl B loudly, sloppily bites at her neck. I still talk to girl A but haven't brought up that time since. Edit update. Got a surprising amount of requests to ask her about it, so I gave her a call. Not the dramatic conclusion I was kinda hoping for, but she doesn't remember it. Memory problems combined with, well, to give you an idea of her friend group, we couldn't even pinpoint who girl B was. But she said it sounds entirely plausible as something that happened. To quote, in a sad tone, I'm kind of a doormat. Put poo in the cafeteria microwave, set it for 30 minutes, and walked away. In 10th grade a girl asked me if I played football. I have pretty broad shoulders and just am overall a thicker guy. I told her I did not play, but I asked why and she said, well, because you are fat. Honestly did not even hurt me too much, was just kind of startled someone would say that. One guy I went to school with tried to fuck a cat. I wish I was joking. Edit. Talk to my fiancé who went to the same school. He also tried to fuck a dog. Thank you for watching. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to okpjdark for new videos every day. See you tomorrow.